A child that beats his peer today is not assured of beating him again tomorrow. And being right today does not necessarily mean being right tomorrow. Welcome to section 33 of chapter 2 of the Holy Quran. Chapter 2 being Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah devoted to the heifer or young cow. Namshi. فلما فصل طالوت بالجنوبه قال إن الله مبتليكم بالنهر إن الله مبتليكم بالنهر. When Talut set off with his armies, Junud, he said, Kala, Inna Allah mubtalikum bin Nahr. God will test you at the stream. God will test you at the stream. Will test you at the stream is mubtalikum bin Nahr. Okay. فمن شرب منه فليس مني. If any drinks of its water, he goes not with my army. فليس مني, he goes not with my army. ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني. Only those who taste not of it go with me. Only those who taste not of it go with me. ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اقترف غرفة إلا من اقترف غرفة بيده إلا من اقترف غرفة بيده. Only those who taste not of it go with me. Oh, that's what I just read. No, that's not it. A mere slip of the hand is excused. A mere slip of the hand is excused. And that is illa man iktarafa gurfan. Illa man iktarafa gurfatan. And that is only those who taste of it with the hand. Man iktarafa gurfatan. Biyadihi, with his hand. Only those who have not, only those who taste not of it go with me. A mere sip out of the hand is excused. A mere sip out of the hand is excused. Illa man iktarafa gurfatan biyadihi. فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم. فشربوا منهم إلا قليلا منهم. But they drank of it, except a few. Difficult, isn't it? You've come by a stream and you are very thirsty, and you are commanded not to drink. But a mere handful of it is sufficient. It's excuse. I mean, it's very difficult. Very, very, very difficult. I think anybody will be inclined to mo 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 mo. Eh? Very difficult. Okay, anyway, let's go. Uh, إلا من اعترف فشربوا إلا قليلا منه فلما فلما جاوزه هو فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا الله قالوا قالوا لا تكاتا لنا اليوم بجالوت. Sorry for bad reading. But when they cross the river, when they cross the river, when they cross the river, where is it? Falamma jawaza, falamma jawazahu, when they crossed it, falamma jawazahu, huwa walazina amanu ma'ahu, when they crossed the river, he and the faithful ones with him, mhm, ma'ahu, kalu, with him, and the faithful ones with him, they said, kalu, la ta'akata, la takata lana al-yoma bijaluta. They said, the faithful ones with him, they said, this day we cannot cope with the Goliath and his forces. We cannot cope. We cannot cope with Goliath and his forces. Yes. Oh, I read this thing long time ago and see how difficult I'm finding it to read. Anyway, it's part of it. My friend Quinton will say it's part of life. All right. Kalu la takata lana al-yuma bijaluta wa junudihi. They said, this day we cannot cope with Goliath and his forces. Wa junudihi, and his forces. Kala allazina yasnuna annahum mullat annahum mulaku allahikum min fi'tin qalilan galabat fi'atan qalilan kathiran. Oh my God, this is a common saying of mine. Okay. قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاك الله كم من فئة قليلا غلبت فئة كثيرة. This day we cannot cope with Goliath and his forces. But those who were convinced that they must meet God, Mulakihi, that they must meet God, said, how oft by God's will hath a small force vanquished a big one. قالوا لا قدر لنا اليوم بجنود وجن... آه، ب- بجالوت بجالوت وجنوده. قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاكو لله كم من فئة قليلا غلبت فئة كثيرا. How oft by God's will, mm, how oft by God's will have a small force vanquished a big force? It's a question. Mm, Uh, بإذن الله with by God's will بإذن الله. The by God's will comes last in the Arabic side. In the English side, it comes rather first. So by God's will بإذن الله. Wallahu ma'a sabirin. Wallahu ma'a sabirin. And God is with those who steadfastly persevere. Uh, Let me take it from the middle part. Let's see. Kalu la takat lana al-yuma bijunuta bijaluta wa junudihi. Today we cannot conquer Goliath with his soldiers. قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاكي لله. And those who, the believers among them, uh, who are sure of meeting God, said, كم من فئة قليلا كم من فئة قليلة كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة. كثيرة. بإذن الله by the wish of والله مع الصابرين, and God with those who persevere. There should be, yes, there is a note to it. In fact, 284 and 285. 284 and 285. As usual, I shall go back to see if I read 283 of the previous episode. 283. I don't know. I don't know. Security. Yeah, we read security, but 283. I don't think so. 283 of the previous video of the previous sign is to the Ark of the Covenant, to the Ark of the no, carried by angels, and 283 here is carried by angels, colon. These words refer to Taboot or Ark. Taboot or Ark. These words refer to Taboot or Ark, carried by the angels. Now we go to 284 of sign 249. What is it against? It's against when Talut set forth with his armies, he said, 284, a commander is hampered by a large force if it is not in perfect discipline and does not wholeheartedly believe in its commander. No, right. A commander is hampered by a large force if it is not in perfect discipline and does not wholeheartedly believe in its commander. I don't know if it makes a meaning. Let me repeat it and see. Pardon me. A commander is hampered by a large force if it is not in perfect discipline and does not wholeheartedly believe in its commander. Oh, I see. That's the force of the commander, the followers. In other words, if the followers of the commander do not wholeheartedly believe in the commander, yes, uh, he must get rid of all the doubtful ones, comma, as did Gideon before Saul, as did Gideon before Saul, full stop. And Henry V in Shakespeare's story long afterwards, full stop. Saul used the same test as Gideon. He gave a certain order when crossing a stream. The greater part disobeyed and were sent back. Gideon's story will be found in Judges 7 2 to 7. Judges 7 2 to 7. And 7 Judges 7 is VII 2 to 7. And that's 284. No, 284. We now go to 285 of the same sign. That's 249. 285. And it's against this day. These days we cannot conquer Jalut and his army. 285. Even in the small band that remained faithful, there were some who were appalled by the number of the enemy when they met him face to face and saw the size and strength of the enemy commander, Goliath. Who is Goliath? Mm. The giant Goliath, into brackets, Jalut. The giant Goliath, into brackets, Jalut in Arabic, full stop. But there was a very small hand who were determined to face all odds because they had perfect confidence in God. Mm. That's why they say, be easy and lie. They had perfect confidence in God and in the cause for which they were fighting. They had confidence in God and they had confidence in the cause for which they were fighting. They were for making a firm stand and seeking God's help. Full stop. Of that number was David. See next note. So of that number was David. So David was among the small group who only either didn't drink or took a sip and not swallow the whole, not swallow so much of the water. It was among them. Mm. See next note. Mm. And next note belongs to the next sign, which is 250. Mm. No, I think next note is still with sign 249. Oh, I can see the next note 285. I can see 285. Yeah, next note is not against 249. Next note is not 249. So we shall go to the next sign, which is 250. فلما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا فانصرنا على قوم الكافرين. I think this one I can remember well. I forget a lot. ولما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا فانصرنا على قوم الكافرين. When they advanced to meet Goliath and his forces, they prayed, Our Lord, pour out constancy on us and make our steps firm. AdaM and make our steps firm. Help us against those that reject faith. Mm. Tabit agdamana, what tabit agdamana makes our steps firm. Tabit agdamana makes our uh, steps firm and give us victory over those who reject faith. No note for it. No note for it. We go to Psalm 259, where there is no 286 that we've been referred to from the previous note 285. Mm. Uh, Fahazara, Fahazara move, Fa, sorry, Fahazamuhum biiznillah. Wakatala Dawudu Jaluta. Dawudu Jaluta. By God's will, they routed them. By God's will, they routed them. Routed. In case I don't spell it well, I don't call it well. By God's will, they routed them. Mm. And David slew Goliath. Wakatala Dawudu Jaluta. Wakatala Dawudu Jaluta. Mm. And David slew Goliath. Mm. وآتاه الله الملك وآتاه الله والملك والحكمة وعلمه مما يشاء. Mm. So after conquering Goliath, who is Jaluta, God gave him, that's David, power. Mm. God gave him al-mulka, power, wal hikmah, and wisdom. Wa alamahu mimma yasha'a, and taught him whatever else is in brackets, and taught him whatever else he willed. As God taught David whatever else God willed. Mm. Mimma yasha'a, whatever he willed. Uh, uh, Walau, walau la dafa, walau la dafu Allahi, walau la dafu Allahi linnas. Bagdahum bi Bagdan, walau la dafu Allahu annasa, Bagdahum bi Bagdan, la fasadati al ardi. And did he will, and did not God check one set of people by means of another, the earth would indeed be full of mischief. Bagdahum bi Bagdan, one set of people against the other. La fasadatul fil ardi, there would have been mischief. The earth would have been full of mischief. La fasadati fil ardi. Walakin Allah zulfadl alal alamin. But God is full of bounty to all the worlds. So this phrase is very important and must be taken note of. God sets one sort of people against another to prevent mischief in the world. So if you are in your area, you may be the very strong one, but there is another strong one to check you. In your community, in your house, even in your house, in your community, in your school, anywhere you are, and so on to the larger world. You have nations who want to bully other nations, but God has set other nations to counter them, to tell them, no, the world does not belong to you. No, you're making a big mistake. Hmm? If America wants to bully the whole world, they forget that there is another nation nearby. There are other nations nearby who are only keeping quiet. Russia is there, China is there, Iran is there, India is there. So you can't just take the whole world like your grandfather's property. Treat them anyone, anyway. Kill their leaders, anyone, anyway, if they don't follow your wish. When your cup is full, the other nations will rise up. While you are doing it, the other nations are preparing to teach you a lesson as well. Pardon me for using America because this is what is happening presently. Hmm? Okay, so ولو لا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسادت في الأرض ولكن الله ذو الفضل على العالمين. But God is full of bounty to all the world's alamin. And now we have three in one note. The note is three in one: 286, 287, 288. We were referred to 286 in the previous note. Let's see, 286. No? Or rather 287. Let's see. No, we're referred to 286. So let's go to 286. Mm. And what is it against? And David slew Goliath. 286. Note how the whole story is compressed into a few words as regards narration. Straight away, David slew Goliath. I think that's what this commentator is meaning, wants to tell us. Note how the whole story is compressed into a few words as regards narration, but its spiritual lessons are dealt upon from many points of view, full stop. The Old Testament is mainly interested in the narrative, which is full of detail, but says little about the universal truths of which every true story is a parable. Full stop. The Quran assumes the story but tells the parable. The Quran assumes the story but tells the parable. Then paragraph to still 286. It's quite lengthy note. David was a raw youth with no arms or armor. David was a raw youth with no arms or armor. He was known even in the Israelite camp. No, he was not known, pardon me. He was not known even in the Israelite camp. Even in the Israelite camp. CAMP. Please don't mind my spelling. David was shocked. He was noticeable in the Israelite camp. And the giant Goliath mocked him. Even David's own elder brother cheat him for deserting his sheep. Let me take it again. David's own elder brother cheat him for deserting his sheep. Sheep is spelled CHID. For he was a poor shepherd. He was a poor shepherd lad to outward appearance. He was a poor shepherd lad to outward appearance, but his faith had made him more than a match for the Philistine hosts. So those the Goliaths were the Philistines, for the Philistine hosts. So Goliath was among the Philistines. Uh, Full stop. When Saul offered his own armor and arms to David, the young hero declined, as he had not tried them, tried them while his shepherd's sling and staff were his well-tried implements. So he was new to arms. All that he had was And he was very accurate at it. He was very good at it. Mm. He did it with a lot of dexterity. Uh, where, where his well-tried implements, full stop. He picked up 5 smooth pebbles on the spot from the stream and used his sling to such effect that he knocked down Goliath on the forehead. The accounts will say, Mama, so not Goliath down, and not Goliath down. Full stop. He then used Goliath's own sword to slay him. There was consternation in the Philippine army. They broke and fled and were pursued and cut to pieces. They were too confident of themselves. Mm. I'll come back to that story later, after the whole verse. Okay, maybe I can go now. You see, he was too confident. Goliath was tall, huge, mm, and he was seen with awe. Mm. People respected him and at the same time feared him and liked him. And David got him very simply. I'm a wrestling fan. I remember in one of the wrestling bouts between Hulk Hogan and Andrew the Giant. When Hulk Hogan stood in front of Andrew the Giant, you know, he's taller. He looked down upon Hulk Hogan. I didn't mind him. So look at you. Uh, looked at him with some demeanor. We all saw it if you look at the clip. Hulk Hogan didn't mind. They started, Hulk Hogan tried lifting Andrew the Giant. He couldn't. He stayed, he fixed himself firm on the ground. Hulk Hogan didn't mind. They were fighting, fighting, fighting. This beat. Hulk Hogan finally, after beating him, he finally was able to lift him up on the mat. Pam! And that's where Andrew the Giant got weak. He got up again after some small fight. Hulk Hogan tried again, and this time he lifted him up and slammed him. Wasam! I said, oh, is this Andrew the Giant? Then that was where he conquered Andrew the Giant. You see, he believed too much on his stature, on his strength. He just looked down like this on Andrew the Giant. And when Hulk Hogan finished him, he prayed to God several times. He looked up and thanked God, looked and thanked God. So the fight was actually for God, not Hulk Hogan, who was so arrogant. You see, so this is similar. It's a similar story here. David and Goliath. Mhm. Pardon me for digressing. Like I said, I'm a football fan. And okay, let's go to the next paragraph of note 286. Apart from the main lesson that we would preserve our national existence and our faith, it is our, did I read it well? Apart from the main lesson that we would preserve our national existence and our faith, it is our duty to fight with courage and firmness. There are other lessons in David's story. 1. Numbers do not count. Kam min fi'atin qalilan galabat fi'atan kathiran. I read it just now, not long ago. Numbers do not count, but faith, determination, and the blessing of God, the most important. All three are important indeed. And blessing, faith and determination, and the blessing of God. Then 2, size and strength are of no avail against truth. Courage, against truth, courage, careful planning. Then 3, the hero tries his own weapons and those that are available to him at the time and place, even though people may laugh at him. So David only has a sling. What can you do with this? This giant with armor and whatnot, how can you conquer him? Hmm? Okay, let me repeat 3. The hero tries his own weapons and those that are available to him at the time and place, even though people may laugh at him. For if God is with us, the enemy's weapon may become an instrument of his own destruction. Yes, he took his own sword. David took Goliath's own sword and finished him there. Hmm? 5. Personality conquers all dangers and puts heart into our own wavering friends. Then 6. Pure faith brings God's reward, which may take many forms. Pure faith brings God's reward, which may take many forms. Colon. In David's case, it was power, wisdom, and other gifts. See next note. We are going straight to next note, 287. And 287 is against God willing, if God wills. MashaAllah, what God wills. 287. David was not only a shepherd, a warrior, a king, a wise man, and a prophet, but was also endowed with the gifts of poetry and music. Yes, I remember this writer, Sheikh Sabuno and Mohammed Isau, who translated it. Mm. He said David used to sing such that birds couldn't move. They would stay on trees and listen to David's voice until they would fall down from hunger. Hunger would make them die. Smooth voice. Mm. And we have people today who recite the Quran in that manner, even though the Quran is not notably a hymn book. But there are probably more hymns there than the hymn books that we know in Christianity. Mm. David was not only a shepherd, a warrior, a king, a wise man, and a prophet, but was also endowed with gifts of poetry and music. Then we go to 288. 288 or the same sign 251. 288. God's plan is universal. He loves and protects all his creatures, and his bounties are for all the worlds. Chapter 1, 2, no, 2. Mm. Alhamdulillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. That's what this meant. Mm. So for all the worlds, into brackets, chapter 1, verse 2, and note. Mm. I think 2 and note. In brackets close. To protect one, he may have to check another, but he must never lose faith that his love is for all in boundless measure. And that's note 288, the last note to sign 251. I wish to finish this time, but there are noises outside there. Hmm? I don't know. Hmm? Okay, let's see. I think we can do something. We can do the last two signs. If the noise is too much, I cut abruptly. Hmm? Oh, God. Okay, we better stop here. Hmm? The noise will interrupt so much. Let's stop here at note 251. When we come back in the next video, we shall go to 252 and then 253 to complete the section, which is section 33. Thank you very much. Ilalakai, bye-bye, Uriba. May God be with you all. And I apologize again for bad reading. Hmm?